you don't want to do it. So you feel really awkward because you just want to be stable the whole time. And then we just started fucking attacking. Like it kind of flipped for us.
And we're live!
That's a producer. That's a producer right there.
That's good.
That's something Dave never did, you know? And that's why Dave's not here.
So many
countdown. That's the determining factor on this podcast. I'm going to preface this show with there might be some over talking. We have 4 microphones and 6 people, but we're gonna have a decent, fun show. We got the crew here. I love it.
We're gonna do our best not to over talk, but who do you think is gonna be the worst at over talking?
Jared.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Unanimous.
Yeah.
Jared. How about you, Jared?
Yeah.
Jared's the worst at over talking.
He doesn't say a thing the entire episode. He just nods.
I'm also the best at proving you all wrong.
I was
In what
trying
way?
to say something when you said that.
Oh,
So you just over-talked me. I had a really good point. I lost it.
Oh,
It's a good day. We're here in lovely San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is our adaptive athlete shoot, and then we're going to the
Veteran
weekend for
adaptive athlete.
Yes.
He doesn't even know the name of
yes.
this one.
Fuck you, first of all, and then we got tech this weekend, so it's going to be a good couple days.
it's gonna be a great couple days. I think there's a milestone moments here that I think we all have to recognize.
Oh, here it comes.
One,
Yeah, that's a
it's
joke.
12:30 and Eli is awake, which congratulations.
Great
Good
job.
Great to be here.
Hey,
Look at
Super
this,
excited.
look at this.
Hey,
Evan,
it
how
is
late were you
11:30.
today?
thank you for your
How
service.
late were you today?
Sorry,
to your
11.
own podcast.
Yeah. Some of us have another job beyond being a beautiful face, a racially ambiguous face, indeed. But yes, yeah. So
Tensions are
I
high
wasn't-
today.
I know, so he started. Which is
I wasn't. This isn't. I'm not. Tensions are not high.
Okay.
Tensions are not high. I had a wonderful couple calls this morning that were fucking awesome. Actually, they were really, really cool. It's not a big deal. When I talk to really cool people, I don't really like to tell people about
Is
it.
it like when you
Wait,
send me
can I guess?
photos of you and John partying to rub it in my face to hang out with country music artists that I like, that kind of stuff?
So we'll start with just like this weird weekend in Nashville, and then we'll go into AFF. So I go out to Nashville with my buddy, who's also he's a biz dev guy for the Dallas Cowboys. Fucking super fun.
Just a buddy.
I just like you had to add that part into the conversation.
But that's why there'll be context to it.
Okay,
But he's
good.
also he's a part of the CMA and he does a bunch of stuff in country music. He's written a couple songs for Hank Williams Jr. He's way into country music. Super fun guy to hang out with. I went hunting with him. Super fun. He's rad. And so he goes, hey, come out to Nashville. There's no schedule. Just spend a couple days out here and we'll talk country music and shoot the shit, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, great. So I didn't really have a schedule. Fly out there where it's just like, okay. And I've done this with Jared a few
that
times.
sounds like Jared.
It is. No, he is a grown-up version of Jared. He's an adult
almost 40.
version. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, he's like 60, but it's Jared. It's Jared to a T. If Jared was a 6'4" cowboy, but it is Jared. Perfect connection. I was thinking this the entire 2 days. Like, this is fucking Jared if he was a cowboy. And so we go out there and he's like, we go to a couple different spots, meet a couple different people, and then all the country music singers. And I don't know a lot of country music singers outside of like George Strait,
Dolly
Clint
Parton.
Black, Dolly Parton. Like,
Yeah.
I listen to country, but not new country, because I find new country to be too poppy. It just sounds like shit,
Trap.
to be honest with you.
It's pop rock. Trappy.
It's
Yeah.
pop rock horse shit. And
Like they're
but
putting
I
in dubstep now. It's
like
weird.
Chris Jansen is fucking awesome. Like a lot of these like real cowboys that are like no shit singing good music. I'm fine with it. So yeah, John Purdy walks into the bar and he's like hanging out with us, and
He's actually one of the good modern
Chris
country
Young.
guys. He's good. Chris Young's good too.
Chris Young's fucking good. Like, and they're both sitting there hanging out, shooting the shit. And I was like, hey, Matt, do you know this guy? And he's like, of course. So Party pulls out a 22 Hornet round out of his pocket. He's like, and he just flashes it. He's like, yeah, I was out on my ranch just a minute ago, and pulls out this 22 Hornet. And I was like, oh, is that a 22 Hornet? He's like, he looked at me like I was a wizard. Because nobody knows what a 22
You
Hornet looks
small
like. And
little
he's
wizard.
like, he's like, I think you and I are going to be friends, man. You and I are going to be all right. Yeah. Hey, why don't we get really drunk? And it's like,
Wait,
that's
why wasn't
fine.
I invited to this party?
Yeah.
I wish I was invited.
You
It's
can't
okay.
immediately recognize a 22 Hornet.
You can't.
That's why I wasn't there. I don't know what that is.
You don't? It's like a longer 22 round.
Oh, the round. Yeah.
22 Magnum is
Yeah,
It's not like a
it
Hornet,
looks like
like
a
a
really
B.
long 22 Magnum.
Yeah.
And or a small 5.56.
Glad I got.
right
This
in
may
between.
come in handy.
It will.
It will.
It's a less pointy
We put to the
17
test.
HMR. That's not true at all. I just wanted to piss off the gun nuts.
What? So, how do we want to start this AFF? So, you want to start with the genesis of it, or
no?
we
Let's
wanna-
just talk about like the fact that we fucking decided that we're going through midlife crisis and we should all jump out of planes again. And most of us have, in some regard, jumped out of planes. And then we said, let's go. Because I think the funny part, which you have to preface, is most people, especially in a publicly traded company, executive, and the people that are forward-facing in the company aren't like allowed to fly in the same plane together. We flew the same plane and jumped out of it, which is fucking hilarious because fuck the rules.
I think he's right.
It's very
He's
true.
right.
No, most people
I
have
didn't
executive
ask-
process in place that says you can't fly in the same plane.
How much did we increase insurance rates because we did this? I didn't.
lot.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh, I paid for my life insurance the week prior to this. Because they already, like, I was in review for 7 months over the whole race car thing. Like, you said you don't drive race cars, and they went to your Instagram, and you have race cars and rally cars on the dirt. That's worse.
I don't see how.
I don't
Dirt's
actually.
softer.
Yeah, it is.
I don't actually
Breathe
pay
hard.
for life insurance, but I play a lot of Russian roulette.
Yeah.
So they probably wouldn't like
that's-
that. Probably won't be able to get a policy now.
Yeah, if you disclose that, you just don't disclose it.
Yeah. I was just kidding.
I served Evan papers that said that if I die, he doesn't get anything from me because I figured he was going to fuck with my shoot and like sew it in.
I thought this
Sabotage.
whole thing was
Shoot
designed to
sabotage.
kill one of us.
Yeah.
It was.
That's why I was so
But we found Richard out soon. We
Exactly.
knew he was the culprit. So
Yeah. It was. Like, Richard kept a very close eye on his stuff. So,
And according to one of our main instructors, there is a lot of sabotage. In
There's
the
a lot of
skydiving community.
sabotage in skydiving. By the way, which was generally in the first paragraph of his instruction of ground school.
Yeah.
Was he opened up the class with that. Guys, just want to let you know there's a lot of sabotage. in
Make sure you
skydiving.
really check this because someone will go in there
And fuck with it.
and
sew it
literally
shut.
sew it shut.
It won't move.
I wonder, like in a standard AFF course or ground school, like if they actually tell those stories to the average person, or we were just that welcoming of like show us all the
Absolutely not.
crashes.
No,
show us the,
absolutely not.
No?
Never
I don't
happens.
think you start a class with like, okay, one time during tandem, the instructor got out and killed himself. Well, the student had to land.
yeah.
Welcome
it was
to
awesome.
skydiving.
Oh, the guy, about the guy that just like jumped out of the rig. And
Yeah,
Hey, here's how you
student.
steer. And he's like, you got this? He's like, yeah, I get it. All right, see ya. Boop.
Also, going up for the first time, he's like, oh yeah, the toggles slow you down. We're getting on the plane. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
I
God.
think my favorite part was
I forgot the dog will slow you down part, as you can review in my Instagram.
my favorite part was just sitting next to Evan on the airplane on our first solo jump, and my instructor was late for the plane, and as he was running out, he just dropped his phone on the ground, picked it up, put his chute back on, and ran to the plane. Like, and I just looked
awesome.
at Evan and I said, "There's my instructor."
I like how they matched personalities though, with the right people.
Yeah.
They totally did.
They did.
Yeah.
They matched the personalities with the right people. So if we go back to the genesis of this before we get into the actual meat and potatoes. So we've been talking about this for the last couple of years. We've been going to the tunnel and prepping for this. And really what we wanted to do is do this jump team. So having an events team that can jump into arenas and NASCAR, and then we can hire our buddies that used to do this in the military and they can be our jump team, right? So, employ some fucking former soft guys, some dudes that want to come out that have thousands of jumps, maybe have done this in their past, and build a jump team.
But in order to do this, we had to know about it ourselves.
You got to lead by example.
Yeah, you got to lead by example.
You got to lead by example. And plus, we've always wanted to do it. We've been talking about it for 2 years.
It's longer. It's
And
longer than that. Yeah.
longer than 2 years. So the GBRS guys were out in Salt Lake several months ago, hanging out with
Mike
just
Glover.
you and I. Yeah, or you and I,
They were
Mike
up there
Glover, and
for a
everybody.
Fieldcraft
They're
deal.
like, well, shit, we can do that. You guys want us to set it up? We'll fucking set it up for you, and we'll make it right. And
huge shout out to GBRS, man. Those guys are so freaking awesome. They're masters of the craft. Like,
I'm in love with Cole.
They made that whole experience that much better. So
I mean, I'm in love with Cole.
He just has that look on his face.
And DJ's a hot guy. He's a big guy.
Yeah, DJ.
He lifts weights.
DJ's the most like sincere person I've ever met.
He's intense.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, but he's sincere.
Yeah.
Like
sincerely intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're...
I get the feeling that DJ could probably kill someone by slapping them. Do you guys get that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't hand DJ my corpse splitter or my carcass splitter. Like that guy it would be scary.
Yeah.
He'd be lopping heads off.
And this is also like, it's a pretty big deal when I like throw out some compliments to U.S. Navy SEALs.
I know.
Yeah.
But he would. The thing about DJ though is he would apologize as he's swinging. Like, I'm so sorry I have to kill you, but
that's what happens. But yeah, so they set up the course. Essentially, we're the liaisons between AFF and the school in Arizona we're going through.
So this was really the whole genesis to this was Clint Trial and Jonathan Blank being able to jump with us as we were building this events team to be able to go out and free fall into stadiums and rodeos and just, push out Black Rifle Coffee and have a lot of fun doing it. So the premise of the marketing is like, let's hire dudes that we, people that we want to bring in, have a lot of fun marketing the company in the way that we want to do it. So who doesn't want a fucking jump team, right? It's awesome. It's super fun. And Clint Trial and John was finishing his license. And then Clint Trial hasn't jumped since his injury. So this was a perfect opportunity to put everybody basically straight at the table and say, all right, let's go out and do some epic shit. I believe in this.
And if you don't know exactly, just for clarification, like Jonathan and Clint are both double amputees, legs. So they're jumping out of planes without legs. It's crazy to watch, but it's one of the most inspiring things I've seen in a long time.
Well,
I'm just saying if they didn't know,
awesome.
Like, in injuries. Yeah.
Well, and for us, I think a big part of this, the philosophical point, and not to be so deep about it, but the philosophical point in this is, I believe in having to push yourself to learn a skill under a significant amount of stress. I think that from a pure evolution perspective, I think that we've developed as humans to be under a significant amount of adrenaline and stress where your life is dependent on it, where you have to learn while doing. And I think it's actually very healthy for just an individual to do that. I think I validated that because I haven't jumped for a long time, static line for well over a decade. So getting out there, learning a new skill, being with our friends, this is incorporating, education and skill with big parts of this are inspire, entertain, and inform. So what we're trying to do is get people to go out, try new shit. Even if we don't want to do it, we're like, hey, go check it out. Because this might be a community that you can integrate in after you've made a transition, not the transition you're thinking of, but after you transition out of the active duty or whatever, government service, push yourself to learn something new, go out and integrate with a community where you're having fun and you're inspired by a bunch of other people. And oh, by the way, we get to do this with our friends that have been physically modified by war and allow them the same opportunity to connect in and do exactly what we're doing. And it's all equal. We're the fucking same, man. So it's a bigger picture. From the outside, it might look like, oh, you guys are fucking off. And don't get me wrong, it's fun. But it's also really fucking stressful. And honestly, I think most of us would be like, if we didn't feel like we had an obligation to go out and inspire and lead people, we probably wouldn't have done it. But we feel like we really have to push the envelope and inspire people to go out and do more shit. The narrative in the veteran community and I shouldn't say a lot of veterans, but this narrative really pisses me off, and this is what we have to fight against, is woe is me horseshit. It's these guys that have lost both their legs go out and do epic shit on a regular basis, motivate and inspire people. If I got a little back pain and I don't want to get out of bed at 5:30 in the morning to go get something, I think about guys like Clint and John. I stop fucking, whining, and I suck it up and I go out and do what I need to do in order to become a better human, a better father, a better husband. Well, that's debatable. But for us,
you're really fine.
but for us, I think this kind of shit is so important. And I think it's so important for us as the veteran community to not just allow this narrative to take over where woe is me, war was so hard. War was fucking awesome. Just so everybody fucking hears it from me. It was a fucking good time.
It was.
I wrote a book about it.
You did.
Thank you for that.
Hey,
Were there highs and lows? Yeah, but
Of course.
in the spectrum of life, when I'm highly caffeinated, in the spectrum of life, in a matter of seconds and minutes, you can be on the top of the emotional fucking mountain of feeling like you're a god to being at the lowest point you've ever been in a matter of seconds. And the emotional spectrum that a human gets to experience in a time of war is typically what no other human gets to experience. We have an emotional depth and range because we've been able to experience these things, so we understand what it feels like. A lot of people, I think, have this much. They've got they don't get real extreme highs, they don't get real extreme lows, so they miss out on being human, which is fucking incredible.
You could even break it down that there's a high majority of people that have never even been tested emotionally at all.
Oh, absolutely.
I was talking about this with somebody the other day. Like, I have a little catchphrase I like to say about, and it's about the vets that you're talking about. It's okay to be okay, right?
Yeah.
And what I think it is a lot of times is when we were in that world, we had something to overcome every day, some challenge. And then people get out and they're like, I'm going to invent challenges for myself. And that comes into form as woe is me, the VA sucks, this sucks, that sucks. Instead of like going out and finding challenges for yourself, like go skydiving, like join a fucking Olympic weightlifting team, do something, like learn a new skill and compete in it rather than inventing things to overcome. Like go and do stuff that's positive that you can overcome.
Yeah, and implement like this group dynamic. That's one of the things that my brain constantly goes back to is like, it's so rare that we take what we did within the military and like this group effort, right? Like you're going on a mission, it's a group effort. Like we hunt now, but that's pretty solo endeavor. Like you don't really do this group thing. And us being there as a corps of Black Rifle, and then you had Arizona Arsenal, like probably the best instructors for this in the country, if not the world. And then you got the GBRS guys, and then you got like this other contingent of community that happened within the skydiving world. And so like you get all these people centric towards achieving one specific goal of making it through this thing and making sure like Clint has everything and he needs and John has everything. It's like it creates this really unique dynamic that you just don't get to experience a lot in life. And the only time you do get to experience is like if you're trying to do like BHECs, like big, hairy, audacious goals. Like you need big goals to look at to like get the feelings and the interaction that you're trying to accomplish, because big things aren't typically accomplished without a whole bunch of people involved. And so it was immediate drawbacks to being in the military and being involved in process.
Yeah, and part of the thing that you miss from the military is like you said, that group effort. And in order to like make that group effort happen, you have to have a common goal that you're trying to overcome. You can't have like a finger painting club and it's going to give you like a brotherhood or a tribe. It has to be something that's hard.
Well, the group mentality too, it often like motivates you past those like boundaries of trepidation, right? Where you're sitting there. I'm sure everybody at one point, the first time, at least I was like, why the fuck am I jumping out of a plane again? This is so stupid. But then I'm looking around like, well, I'm not going to admit that to anybody, right? So it's like almost a motivating factor to like be around people that want to do the same thing. But
it's motivating that your ego will overcome you being made fun of.
Yeah.
That you will throw yourself
that's how you know
out
you
of an
have toxic
airplane.
great friends where you're like, I can't quit because they're going to make fun of me for the rest of my life.
14,000 feet, fuck it, I'm out.
That was a super interesting thing. Like with all the work that I've done since I transitioned. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those things are like set healthy boundaries. Like, you know, if you have this boundary that there's something you don't want to do, you can, like, you're not in the military, you can just say no to it. And like, it was this interesting like world where I was like, man, I don't want to fucking do this. But I did anyway, because like there's, you know, sometimes you just gotta saddle up and do things for the group, you know? And that was like, an interesting thing for me talking to my instructor. I'm like, man, I'm all these like hippy dippy things that I do now. Like I'm feeling some really strong body nose right now. And like I told
my body's a little not centered for this next show.
I told my instructor that, and his face, he was like, he's like, oh, okay.
Friday is just like, I'm sorry, what?
I guess
Mr. 30,000 jumps.
I guess
like,
you just have to push through that.
you gotta get around the body nose.
Yeah,
it is true. Like mental conditioning is like a very active thing you have to do in life, and I think that like a lot of people once they get out of the military, they just want to live like a mediocre life. Like there's nothing wrong, at least in my opinion, living a fucking crazy ass life. I think it's awesome. I think it's fun. I think I don't want to be a guy that sits idle, and that's why. I mean, granted, I left early on AFF because I'm a fucking idiot that didn't break his parachute. But, you know, I'll be back in the sky. That shit's fun. It's that level of discomfort that's comforting, you know? That makes sense.
Oh, it took 3 days for everyone to get comfortable with that. Going up the second time, day 2, day 3, everyone was still like, oh, I fucking hate this so much. But no one wants to pussy out. Like, man, like, that was when I was like, I'm going to do this no matter what.
Every time they shook their head.
You guys talked 2 years in the making. I found out like 2 weeks before, like, Eli, you're going skydiving. I was like, yeah.
No, I didn't sleep for like 8 weeks.
Be dope.
Leading up to this.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so weird how people, because I didn't give a fuck.
I go to bed watching skydive mishaps. It's like weird. For like 2 months straight, I just watch every skydive mishap I could find.
That was my morning. I like to wake up first thing. I'm like, oh, what potential danger could be waiting for me now?
Let me see every possible scenario.
Well, it is true. Like, and I'll use my experience. So my first solo, I fucking didn't flare in time. Mishap with the radio. I'll take operator error on that one, even though it was a little confusing on what should have been done. But like once I hit, like I for sure knew I'd fucked myself up pretty good. I wasn't sure if I'd like broke my coccyx or whatever it is.
Coccyx.
And then once I was stretching in the line, I was like, man, my knee's kind of fucked up. But that was one of those things, at least for me during this process, which I was happy with myself, is I had every fucking excuse not to get in the plane again. But I was like, I'm a fucking pussy if I don't go back there. Because I knew if I would have not jumped and then I had the injuries I did the next day, I absolutely would have regretted that for like the longest time, because I would have just settled with like, that was the experience that I had on my first skydive. And now I have a distaste for that. It's like, you know, the whole analogy of getting back on the horse. And then once I jumped out of that plane, I got to fly by myself in the air, pulled everything, landed perfectly. I was like, all right, cool. We got this. And that was the last jump of the day. And by the next day I was like, okay, I need to go to the fucking hospital probably. But for me, it was like, that was a really cool learning lesson. And it was a reminder of just kind of having to toughen up, because you get comfortable in life, right? It's like, that's what's happened to me a little bit. And I very much enjoyed that experience, even if it came at, 2 knee sprains and a torn meniscus. Like, that's the easiest shit ever comparatively to what could have happened. So.
I think if it was only a solo individual there for that school, no one would have went back for day 2. Like everyone's was like, no, I jumped out of the plane. I'm good. It was good. The hop and pop at 6,000 foot, you were just like, ha, ha, ha. I was like, Evan, it goes really slow. You have this. I'm like trying to walk it. I was like, you're just gonna throw it. Immediately, he's like, 1. Just chucks that bitch. I was like, oh, he's just like up and he's like,
you pop.
And you looked and you're like, oh.
Well, in my mind, I have a thing when it's hop and pop, it happens that fast. I'm hopping and I'm popping. Yes. Like I do what words say. That's what I do.
Well, hang on.
Follow the instructions.
Let's review real quick our ground school when he's like, oh, yeah, you got to do 1 hop and pop at 6,000 feet. Oh, yeah, you got to do it at 35. I forgot about that one. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? Did you just say you happened to remember there was a 3,500 foot one that is 1,000 feet above our deal, no deal altitude? What the fuck are you? You forgot about that one?
To put this in context, okay, so like we jump typically like around 13,000 feet, okay? And so we're watching an altimeter that whole time. If you jump at 13,000 feet, you get about 50 seconds of flying time. So that's 5 seconds for every 1,000 feet. So if you're jumping at 3,500, like you don't have any time.
You don't have any time?
You don't have any time. So it's like a little bit of a mental fuck to like get over that of like, it's still gonna work.
Well,
and I like, need to have this comfortability at that.
It's when you full send. I'm sure Jariko's done it too, like jumping on static line at like 800, 700 feet real low. And you're like, yeah, I hope it opens or I'm dead. Like there's you really can't fucking do anything else. And it's a full send moment.
For me, the hop and pops were like the least scary ones.
Really?
Because I'm like, man, I used to jump out of a plane at fucking 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had, if my parachute failed, I had time to pull my reserve. So I got 3,500. It was easy. But flying around before that freaked me the fuck out.
Watching you walk up to the edge, you're like shuffling.
I didn't want to fall out. My favorite video of all time is the first Jariko jump. There, he's trying to claw his way back in, and she's like, as he's like pushing you out, and you're like,
I'm losing my footing. I'm losing my footing.
I was so scared that I was going to fall out of the plane.
And that's the whole purpose of being
0.5 seconds before I jumped out. Yeah. Don't want to fall though.
I don't want to fall. I don't want to jump too early.
If I fall out, I'll be unstable because I'm so stable when I jump out on purpose.
Especially at that time.
Yeah.
It's like that hill. So like going over the hill or whatever, that was like the worst part for me. That I was talking to my instructor, which she's awesome. Sarah Curtis is fucking rad. She's a perfect instructor for me. They were calling her Logical Sarah. So she just like explained things to me in a very organized way. Whereas like Logan had a different instructor. He's like, I don't know, full send, bro. Let's go. And,
that's what Logan needs.
Yeah,
Like, it was appropriate.
Yeah. Wind slut needed somebody.
Wind slut.
Yeah. Fill his holes with all the wind. Like that's what he wants.
My instructor was like, the whole time he was just trying to get me to pee. He's like, I want you to pee a little bit.
Pee?
Yeah. Like he wanted me to be so scared that I would pee a little bit. He's like,
What?
Yeah. Like he's like, when you stall your chute, so you got to work through all these fundamentals with your chute, so you learn it, and you got to do a stall. The stall is when you're in full brakes, and if you hold full brakes on a parachute for an extended period of time, you begin moving backwards. Okay, and so you're falling backwards, almost upside down, and then when you release the brakes, you get thrown up in the air, and then you go almost straight down with your parachute. And he's like, if you don't pee, you're not doing it enough. You're not doing it correctly.
You're not learning.
Well, also, my instructor was Steve Curtis, who has 21,000 jumps and is arguably the best skydiver
He's
in the
arguably
world.
fucking crazy, Logan.
Oh, well,
I spent a lot of extended time with him.
He's insane, for sure.
You have to be insane
One
to
of
do what
the
that
fucking
dude does.
coolest
Like,
guys I've ever met.
He's fucking awesome.
He's arguably one of the coolest people on the planet.
Hands down.
Which I have a great story to interject there because he was talking about when he met Sarah, his wife. We were talking about just drug use in general. He's like, I really haven't taken any drugs since I met Sarah because she told me I couldn't do any more cocaine and if we wanted to be together. So I just basically stopped then. And I was like, solid.
That's love. That's true love.
It says a lot about how awesome Sarah is, too, you know?
Yeah, she is.
exactly.
I mean, Logical Sarah is, and also she was, everyone would be like, oh, you did such a great job. And she would be like,
She'd be
get
like,
over here. You were fucking garbage.
Yeah.
See,
You suck.
I did the opposite thing because Greg, he's a real life Navy SEAL, my instructor. I figured
Beautiful Navy SEAL,
he
too.
hasn't been scared for a while, so I was going to pretend to die in front of him, and then just to get him. And it worked because he came up to me. He's like, "I'm still pretty fucking shook up. I thought you were going to fucking."
Yeah,
die." I was
and then
like, "You're welcome.
then he became my instructor.
You're welcome. That's good
Because you scared him so bad.
I'm happy I did. That's what I'm here for.
Oh my God.
There was a point, I think it was day 3 of jumping, because like the first day is like just so much to take in that it's like hard to like fucking analyze what you're going through. The second day, I think we all were like collectively like, holy fuck, I don't know if like
It
not
still
like
sucks.
super enjoying this, right?
No, I was not enjoying it
Because
at all.
when
I'll be
jumped to
straight
muscle
honest.
failure. I could not stand up straight, otherwise I'd start shaking.
Yeah.
Well, I think a good way to put this, it was like it wasn't just like MFF, but it was very similar to like, you're hitting the tunnel almost 3 to 4 hours a day and then averaging 3 to 5 jumps a day. So it's pretty taxing on the old body. It's not like a standard, you're jumping once a day or something. It was
These guys
very
did
high
5
paced.
for like
The
5
You do
continuous
5
days.
and then tunnel time after. I mean, that's a lot of
the
lot of
like
stuff.
rapidity of progression really put me off. Like we're talking about it, like to jump out of a plane 5 times static line, which you could pretty much do without any training. They make you train for 2 weeks before you do one.
Yeah.
And we got there and it was like day 2. They're like, all right, you're good to go. So I'm like, what? No, I'm not ready for that.
And a fun little thing for Eli and Jariko is we've all been hitting the tunnel a shit ton. So by the time we got there, we'd spent like at least 2 hours in the tunnel. So we're all super comfortable flying. We know our maneuvers. And then you guys just got thrown in the whirlwind.
Day one, it's like, go, have fun. I see you guys. And you're like, huh. I was like, oh, I can just bounce. Like, oh God. And I watched Jariko just hitting walls. I was like, we're fun. We are the ones that are going to die. Day two, still fucking hitting walls. I'm like,
And like, you're ready. You can jump out of the plane.
You come out of the tunnel the night before the morning is your first solo jump, and you're like, wait, I'm fucked.
I am dead.
If I fly that way in the normal air, I am gonna fucking die.
My final tunnel time, the day before we jumped, where we put the parachute on, I couldn't find my fucking, that scared the shit out of me because I couldn't get it. Like, I don't know what I was doing.
That was the one for me, since we're just telling fun stories, was like, when I was like, can I put the parachute on? They're like, oh, you can fly the last 10 minutes to shoot. And I was like, no, I want to fly the whole block. Yeah. So I was just sitting there the whole time like, okay, there's my fucking pilot chute. There's my pilot. Because I figured that's how I was going to die if I couldn't get my chute out. Because it's it's a weird place on the back of the backpack if you haven't trained it.
It's just second nature now because I'm a skydiver.
I had one jump, one of those AFF jumps where I couldn't find it. And like on the video, you see like my instructor starting to swoop in, and like right when he was about to grab it for me, I got it and threw it.
When you're flying and you're like,
yeah.
Okay, where is that thing? Like, oh, my wallet. Okay, got it.
Dude, Jared showed us a video yesterday of this student who comes here. He pulls through
his fucking harness. Like, you have to fail multiple times with this. Like, reaches through his harness. And then you haven't seen it yet?
No.
Yeah,
he deploys his pilot chute.
Harness.
Yeah.
So it's going, and his instructor could have just fucking tracked away and been like, sorry, dude, you killed yourself.
Yeah.
His instructor pulled that pilot chute out of his harness for him. Saved that fucker's life.
I wonder what kind of like
holy shit.
In
That's
like
a horseshoe.
the AFF, the Freefall instructor community.
Oh God.
Is there like a nickname for somebody who's lost a student on a jump? But
you got to be worried about the guy whose nickname is Six.
He's a doozy.
Wait, why do they call you Six?
Back in 2011, he lost someone. Yeah.
The only thing that was truly terrifying was landing the first time by yourself. Because you watch people come in and it looks like they're going 100 miles an hour and they're like, and then just flare, but judge yourself 12 feet from the ground. You'll know when
or 2 feet.
Or if you're too high, they're going to splat from 20 feet. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking die on this part. And they can't teach you how to land. They just like give you pictures.
I mean, that was part of our, part of our training was watching someone roll into the DC.
Well, we did. There was a death while we were out there. I was the first person there, Jared and I. But that isn't funny. But there was a death of the person that was out there.
It's so crazy.
It's very unfortunate. Yeah,
she went. She had a very, very, very unfortunate. She was pulling on one toggle and it pendulum her up and then dropped her down, and she was.
She one toggled it and just spun out and lost air.
One toggle. So
ouch.
Yeah, she was, but she went fast. She was 65 years old. Like she didn't really have a lot of pain.
She was in her 70s.
Was she?
It was I was. Because there was a whole group of
I was talking with them the whole day before that because they were an awesome group. Dude, it was like 60-year-old women that were like trying to set a world record. They were awesome. They were kind. It was cool. I was like, you guys are crazy. You're like 60-year-old just jumping out of planes. Like, God bless you. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was sad, but it's also like not sad because like, how cool is that? Like, that's obviously what she loved.
Dude, that's what I thought, man. I was like, I always like plot my own death. I'm like, how do I want to fucking epically leave this planet? Right now, I'm thinking like I want to Thelma and Louise it, like convertible off the Grand Canyon.
I'm thinking like midnight. I just die in my sleep.
No, I've been going like pure Kurt Cobain for me.
Really? Oh my God!
You want to be killed by your wife? Weird.
I feel like my death's probably going to be like 6 Viagra when I'm like 72, die mid-cum. That's probably what's going to happen for me.
Yeah, right? in a movie theater.
Hell yeah. No, but to the old Lion King. I really like the old Lion King better than the new one. But no, that was a fun experience. So let's get a poll here. Like, who's gonna keep active and keep jumping. I mean, I got to go finish my.
I
shit
want to
eventually.
go this week.
Yeah,
I want to go to San Marcos.
Yeah, we've been trying to get up to San Marcos. It's just
The
weather's
weather's
shitty.
just pounding.
Where
us
are your
in
guys'
that.
shoots at?
They have them there.
Where?
You just run them.
You just run.
Oh, okay.
I have
run 'em
one.
like a bike.
I was just
Yeah,
curious.
I have
He's just
one.
curious.
Oh, do you?
I
Richard-
actually have two.
It's in
Where's
Richard's
yours?
car.
Mine's in Richard's car.
Yeah. Yeah, both of
It's
them.
out in the sun right now.
You're
Getting
supposed
beat
to
up.
store,
Yeah.
for everybody
Yeah,
listening,
it's in
you're
the
supposed to
sun
store
right now.
parachutes in hot cars.
Yeah, hot cars.
It's wrapped in a trash bag
Just the sun beating down on it.
with a jar of mayonnaise.
I have something to admit.
You're never gonna jump again.
No. Blythe let me pack one of Evan's shoots.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. 100%.
Not
kidding
by
me?
yourself.
Yes.
No.
Yes, by myself.
No, you did.
Yes, 100%.
Under supervision, I imagine. But
Well, yeah, she watched.
Yeah.
that's
I
great.
don't care.
Did you know this, Evan?
No, I don't care. Like, I mean,
Well, you don't care.
Yeah.
I
there's a
learned how to
reserve
pack.
for a reason.
I learned how
And the
to
thing
pack.
about packing too, like, well, maybe this is just a Steve Curtis thing, but he's like, you just ball it all up and stuff it in there. It'll still fucking open.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it all fucking.
I have dropped a lot of army men off the roof with like trash bags
Bandana,
and like
yeah.
550 cord, and that shit always opens.
Mhm.
So like this thing's like built to open.
No,
It
that's
wants to open.
It wants to
That's
open.
what the main instructor comes. He's like, they want to open. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I did my shoot, and they're like, "So you good on that, or did you want me to re-roll it?" And I was like, "No, yeah, repack my fucking shoot, weirdo." Because that was the day one. They're like, "Are you good
No.
with your packing?" I was like, "No, what?"
That's MFF, though.
That's my. I was
They
like,
teach you packing, and then they'll go, great, you're jumping this tomorrow.
That's fine if I had a couple iterations to pack the chute and like learned it, but not like this is how you do it and then you pack it and then you jump it. I mean, I'm sure most people that are pro skydivers are going to call me a pussy, but hey, dude, I don't know that craft that well. All right, it's not my thing.
There was a point. I think I started touching on this, but there was a point in that third day or whatever, and we were all like, when you first we were jumping out of a Skyvan.
It's jump
right?
six.
Skyvan? Is that
Jump
what
six,
Yeah. We were like, they were like, oh, you got to leave the plane, rear step off, and then you got to look up at the plane as you go. And it's like
Poised exit.
the poised exit, and then you go down what they call the slide, and it's like the most passive way to exit the plane ever, and like. It takes you a while to like get that like instinct reaction out of your body where they call it like rolling up the window, rolling down the window, or you like you kick your legs like you're falling off a building. Like it takes a while, but you don't want to do it. So you feel really awkward because you just want to be stable the whole time. And then we just started fucking attacking the exit and throwing ourselves out of the fucking plane. And we're like spinning and doing karate kicks and fucking.
Your karate kick was awesome, Jericho.
Yeah, Jericho
That
was such a good
awesome.
karate
That was
kick.
so sick.
Straight
And then we were
ninja.
like, it kind of flipped for us to where we were like, we needed to like attack this initial part of it. And then everything else was like, deal with being unstable and uncomfortable right out of the gate, master it. And then everything became way more enjoyable overall.
Well, that's the interesting thing with the poise exit, which is facing the plane, like in the back ramp. I hated that. That was the worst. That was the worst thing for me. I didn't like it. And that was hard because Sarah kept like, nope, you're going to do it again. Nope, you're going to do it again. You're going to do it until you get it right. And I'm like, fuck. And Steve was on the other end with Logan. And Logan's just like jumping out, like fucking doing whatever. But he was also like, Logan's like, well, no, I suck at those too. And everybody sucked at poise. But eventually I was
Poise
like,
is hard.
oh, then I could just jump out or I did a cannonball or whatever. I'm like, oh, I don't give a fuck. Like, who cares? Like, do a gainer, try to do whatever the slide. And it dawned on me as like, you don't have to be stable because once you get into, terminal velocity or relative wind, you're going to get stable like instantly. As soon as I did a cannonball and like just rolled out of it and then popped right into stable, I was like, oh, you don't just forget that first 500 feet. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Who cares? That's stupid. That's like the stupid portion. Who cares?
Yeah.
I will say with that whole experience, the most thing now is like, because I watched all like the pro skydivers now, I have a new profound appreciation of how fucking good some of the sky sharks are. Like, there's that one Red Bull chick or whatever, just doing like
Mira.
ballet in the sky.
Hey, Mira,
and they're
if you want to
so
jump with us, anytime.
Yeah, anytime.
We'd
so
love to have
controlled.
you.
Yeah.
You can leave Red Bull. Come over here.
Yes.
We'll take you.
I have a wind tunnel at my house.
Wind slut.
The first 500 feet thing is funny because it was like I don't know, the first couple of days, and I came out and I flipped onto my back and was like flying on my back. I got it back and like open. We got hit the ground and I like told my instructor, I was like, well, we got my worst fear out of the way. He's like, what? What do you mean? I was like, I flew. I was like on my back. He's like, why the fuck were you scared of that? Like, that's not something you should be scared of at all. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. And then I was like,
he's like, check out this horseshoe malfunction. Be scared of that.
I got some videos on my phone. You should be scared of all this stuff.
But then on the next one, he was like, dude, that's when I did the gainer. When he was like, just step off. It's going to flip you ass over tea kettle a bunch of times because I want you to just get over it. So I just came out and was like, oh, yeah, you can do pretty much whatever in that first, like you said, 500 feet. And then you're just going to kind of plop into place.
It was that moment. And then like once we started tracking,
Yeah.
like, then it was like, oh, fuck. It reached a new level of cool for us.
Yeah.
To where like, it's like you learn how to jump and you're driving like a fucking Volvo, right? Like an old Volvo. It's like, oh, it's reliable, neato. And then you start tracking and you're like, I'm in a fucking Ferrari now. Getting that third and fourth and fifth gear. And you feel yourself use the wind to like pick up speed, like a big portion of
Wind
speed.
just
And you're
filling
like,
all
oh
your
my God.
holes.
The wind was just filling all Logan's holes.
Yeah.
Just filling them.
It was funny though,
Just
like
filling
that progress. And then once we started to do that, like the jumps where you had to just kind of like fly, you're like looking at your altimeter, you're like, come on, hurry up. It's like you're free falling for like 50 seconds. You're like so bored.
You're bored for 15 seconds. You're like, what the fuck, man? God. Can I do anything else? Like, oh, I have 5 seconds of boredom that I have to like work my way through.
I
And
could
you're
totally
like,
do a
"Come
new
on."
trick.
Yeah.
I think the next video we need to do is pretty much what happened, I think, with you guys in the tunnel. We need like a wrestling match in the tunnel.
Oh my God.
Because that shit was fun.
I have not laughed that hard in a while when you just were just
They put like three people in the tunnel with two instructors and they were
but then
just
Keith
kicking them and
Curtis was in
shoving.
there just like kicking people.
Yeah, they're just kicking them, throwing them against the glass. It was just
Stealing our wind.
so good.
He at one point he was just spinning me on top of his head.
Yeah.
He was like,
Look at me, I got a top.
Yeah.
Making a pizza. And I'm on the ground. I'm like, Logan's gonna fall on me. And then Logan's dick's coming towards my face. I'm like, no.
But I think like that's how you really learn to fly because you're in there by yourself and you're like trying to be so technical and specific, and then you throw 4 people in there at the same time and you're like, oh my God, I know how to fly because it takes all the thinking out of it.
Well, I think so. There's a really, really fucking cool moments for me. Like walking around there, we were there for 10 days, 12 days, something like that. And we got Scott Bollinger, who's been, he's a retired CSM out of 19th Group. He was there. He's got a couple thousand jumps or something like that. Kirk Holmer, it's another guy in the company that runs like our shooting sport. So he's got 1,000 jumps. And Christian Craighead, the SAS guy, he's got a couple thousand jumps. And Trevor Thompson, like all the pre-existing soft guys from the company, like Kevin Reeves and all these dudes, we all got together, and it was that for me. It's those moments where it's Clint and Jonathan and Kevin, everybody, and all the commotion is moving around. It feels like this is the best part of the military that I really miss.
100%.
Is everybody's here. We're all yucking it up. We're all doing a thing with all the bullshit. Like, okay. Like, you remember when we used to talk about this all the time. We're like, man, the military could fucking take all the fun out of everything. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's like, okay, guys, step 1 of the blowjob here is, and you're just like, God damn it, man. Like, you guys fucking ruin this, dude. Like, you ruin everything. But in my world, I was like, if we can create this circumstance where we get to do all the fun shit without the bullshit, and that doesn't mean you're not working hard. It just means like when your body is sending you signals of no, what are they? Body knows?
Strong body knows.
Strong body knows.
Strong body knows.
You can be like, hey, I'm over it, man. Like I'm gonna jump tomorrow. Like Jariko would take it like 1 jump a day or 2 jumps or whatever it is. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be about camaraderie and team. It's not about this is a mode of transportation or infiltration for me that I have to learn this skill in order to get it, check block. And there's a bunch of fucking assholes like running around exercising their egos with being instructors. Like, no, man. Oh, cool. See you tomorrow. Let's, jump tomorrow. Cause it's about the experience and having fun. So connecting all those pieces from the company with all the guys that have done this before, and then plugging it all in, going, fuck yeah, let's rent a sky van. Let's get, GBRS guys, and Mike Glover was supposed to come down. All these fucking dudes are coming down. It's like, this is what it's all about right here. And that is the stuff that's like, when you put it in a fucking cup, it's going to sound like a fucking kitschy commercial now, but that's what the company's all about. For me, it's like, that's what it's all about. When we get to like go out and do these things as a team, it's not just, a printed fucking bag with an eagle. It's like, no, man, this is what it's all about. We're here building a fucking community around a culture that's like pulling people together, trying to entertain and inform and inspire. It's fucking rad. Yeah. And oh, by the way, we get to do it with all these like really exceptional fucking humans and have a blast. Like Sarah and Steve and fucking all these guys who are our instructors, they're the best in the world. So we're just like hanging out with people who are like, oh, this is the best in the world.
And
like
Amy
couple
and
guys. Yeah, Amy.
And Frank, her husband. These guys are fucking massive.
We're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Best in the world. Connecting with people from the company and fucking jumping out of a plane. Like, and like, fuck off.
That was like the jumps that we did after we got licensed. We're like,
I didn't get there.
Fucking A, so fun.
I didn't get to those.
Like,
so
just
fun.
Like when I got to start jumping with like Kevin Reeves and Christian and all the, like, I was like, fuck, this is amazing. This is awesome. Once kind of the pressure of
school
going through all the, performance measures to get the license, then it was like, all right, cool. Now this is fun. Now I'm with my pals doing fun shit. It's like the skydiving Sandlot,
Yeah. There's like Christian really sticks out to me because like he's kind of a quiet guy. He's a fucking crazy psycho, like in a good way. Like he's so fun to fly with because he has so much fucking balls. Like he was jumping flags and like, what did he do off the balloon? We got to do a hot air balloon jump.
He did his salute.
He did his salute, but he was like,
for the Queen.
God save the Queen. God bless America. Like, you just get like these little interjections from people that you wouldn't normally get, and you get to like, even outside, like it's about the whole process that's fun too. Like, we're waking up at 4:30, hit times at 5:30. And then you have like all these early morning conversations, these tired conversations. And like Christian was telling me about this one, it really stuck out because like, it's my favorite story from the whole thing, like going back into people's history. And it was like, he was like, so we were listening to music. I was like, I didn't really listen to a whole lot of music. I was just so focused on what we were doing and stuff. And so towards the end, like I started listening to a little bit more music and I was riding with Christian. Christian's like, I got to play the song for you, mate. And he was telling me about on the way to the Nairobi hotel, he was trying to communicate with a couple different groups of people. And he was like trying to turn the volume up on his Bluetooth because he's like, he couldn't get through. And then for some reason, something happened with his phone as he was driving through Nairobi. And like this concerto, like symphony came on his radio and it was like just blasting. And he played the song for me. He's like, so I just did the rest of the ride, like with this classical music playing in the drive to the hotel.
Waltz, dude. That's fucking awesome.
And I was like, oh my God, that's like the craziest, coolest fucking like intro story. I'm like, that had to be insane for you to like look back and think about that. And like, you're just driving to this fucking like Mozart-esque thing as you're going to rescue all these hostages and deal with this like incredible situation. And like, that's the little things, like those little life nuggets that come out of this trips like that.
Yeah. And like you were saying, like, in the behind the scenes video that we're coming soon, they talked to me at one point and I was like, I feel like I'm TDY. Like I'm back in the I'm in this little town in Arizona.
Yeah.
Going out to eat, at these like chain, like same 2 or 3 places because they're the only places that are open these weird hours that will be able to serve this many people. And waking up at 4 a.m, like, and you're with all your pals. Again, it's like I got to relive something that I missed so much from being in the military that you don't know you're going to miss at the time. But then when you taste it again, you're like, fuck, this is great. This is awesome.
Well, it was like the first day we jumped, Cole came up to me. He was like, you hate this. I was like, yeah, I don't like this. He goes, are you going to jump? I'm like, yes. He was like, well, I'll jump with you every time. He goes, just look at me. And he did. Like every time. He was just like, all right,
I'm so jealous of you right now.
Yeah, I know. Because he's so sweet.
He's dreamy.
Yeah, I know.
He's dreamy.
He's so tough on you though. I remember him coming up to you and he was like, so Jared, Are we gonna jump out of
Oh, I
planes
know.
today?
But that's what I need.
Yeah,
I need a little ruffling.
I'll tell like a couple stories which I thought were like some of my highlights. So balloon jumps are fun. So I'll preface this with like it's amazing. Riding in a balloon is dumb as fuck. It's like the worst.
I've never been in a balloon.
Fucking experience.
No way.
It's the worst fucking
Let's have a
experience. So let me explain. If you haven't been in a balloon, and this was my first time in a balloon, let me explain what it is. You have a giant tarp that they're blowing fire into. That is counter logic, by the way. You're fucking blowing fire into something that's
Flammable.
very flammable, and then you're riding in a fruit basket full of fuel. So you have fire blasting into a tarp as you're riding in a creaky old fruit basket
Full of
loaded
gasoline.
up with gas.
It's a fucking bomb. It's a balloon
I
bomb.
don't like it. I don't like it. I'm here to tell you guys, I was fucking more scared of that goddamn balloon.
We have to make an ECS about a balloon bomb.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have to now. It's gonna be
balloon bomb.
inspired by fucking skydiving.
I
Balloon bomb.
wanted out of that fucking balloon so goddamn bad.
But
Like,
that was another one where we got the worst story immediately before we went and did the activity. Because do you remember what Steve said?
Everyone
Curtis
dies
said-
in balloons.
He's like, oh, this is the sister balloon to the. Do you guys remember the balloon that ran into the telephone wires?
and killed everybody. And
He's like, oh, the sister balloon, like,
Yeah.
16 people died.
It's not a big deal. They were just all set on fire, and then I guess a semi ran over the remaining survivors. I don't know. It was just kind of weird, you know.
Were they parachutists?
What is this?
Were they parachutists going
no,
up?
they were just like
balloon.
They were just having wine.
It was just random
It was
people.
just a wine tasting
Again,
thing.
I will never, I mark my fucking words, if I have a say about it, we'll never be in a balloon unless there's a parachute on my back.
Yeah.
Because I've had people like, oh my God, you see on what's the like little like app that gives you discounted travel shit or whatever?
Oh, we could go on a balloon ride.
Oh,
No.
they have discounted balloon rides. You
Bro,
need
that-
cheese and wine and a fucking flammable fucking floating balloon bomb. No,
that
thank
ain't
you.
romantic.
No, that
Just
ain't
so you
romantic.
know, like it's not romantic. And I was
Unless you
sitting
like
there-
kiss your wife and jump out with a parachute.
I was just like watching my altimeter the entire time.
slow
Once
does it
we
go
got
up?
up to a certain point, I'm like,
Big sigh of relief.
okay.
Once you're like at 3,000 feet, you're like, okay, I can pull a
okay,
parachute.
good, I can relax.
How fast does it go up? Slow.
It's surprisingly fast.
Really?
It is surprisingly fast.
Meanwhile, me and Matt are in a Suburban, and we were tracking the wrong balloon for the first fucking 20 minutes. Oh, that ain't the balloon. Oh, hang on. No, that's the right balloon over there.
But it's a surreal experience. Everybody jumps out, and like we were dumping people off at different altitudes because we wanted to lighten up the balloon, and it was super fun. So I'm the last guy off, and Logan and I are supposed to be doing this countdown. And it's super funny because we're like we're
you
the
do
last
it.
two off.
You count us down.
You count us down. You count us down. It's like ready, set. Well, I had my visor open, and it was like ready, set with a delay, so I could shut my visor because as soon as I shut my visor, it's fucking fogging up. And I was like, I got to be able to see because there's so much to go on, like, oh my God, what if I fall out of this balloon? And so I'm like, ready, set, and I shut my visor. Well, he just fucking rolled. He's like, I'm out, bitch. And then the basket wobbled. But once again, I held on because I'm like, oh my God, I might fall. Oh, fuck. And then it's like,
It's so instinctual, I bet, right? You're just like, oh, no. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to do that. Okay.
But watching Logan, like, because you're pitching out, and I was actually really glad that I got to do this because I went out right above him. So I'm watching him in Freefall right below me, and I saw everything play out. Like the camera guy was upside down. Logan's right below me, and then I'm the last person in the stack. And it was fucking rad. It was just a fucking awesome experience. And the videos that are going to come out of that, because we shot that off Red,
Oh, nice.
it is going to be exceptional. That you can see the dust when he hits terminal velocity, his pants disperse dust out of him. Like, that's how incredibly HD the content is.
There was the pee.
That was
There was the pee.
That
He
was
got
the pee-pee.
That was the pee.
But
Finally got it out of him.
that was Joe, and Joe is like Joe's old school. Like he's got, I think he's close. I think he said he's at 14,000 jumps, but he is like one of the guys in the movie industry that films a majority of the skydiving content that you see.
Yeah.
And he like his rig was so cool because he had a red camera on, and then he had a Sony A6300 upside down for stills. That camera had a trigger that went down to his mouth. And so if he wanted to do rapid fire photos, he would use his mouth to take stills, and then he had a GoPro on it too. And then there's this little monocle that comes down that gives him this concentric rings. So he knows what's in focus for his red camera. Like, it is so technical and so impressive. I'm like, how the fuck did we get this guy jumping?
He had like a small block engine on the top of his
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, how does your neck not break when you jump with that?
Yeah, and if you want to see his work, he filmed in the new Point Break movie when they do the money pallet stunt out of the plane. He filmed all that.
Which is also Steve Curtis did that too, the money palette.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm
Yep,
gonna
he
watch
did.
that tonight.
Steve helped the money pallet on the original Point Break.
I thought it was this last one. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Well, he did both.
Steve
but-
Curtis
Oh, he
is
did
so
both?
cool.
Yeah.
Talking about the like stupid fear things. Do you remember the first jump when we got out of the nerd suits?
Yeah.
The like AFF suits, and we were both like, dude, do you think it's going to be way different?
yeah.
I'm not.
I'm kind of nervous because I'm changing my clothing.
Yeah.
And,
Is there less
my
air?
pants
Well,
are
it's still going to
different.
fall the same pace? I don't know.
Yeah. I was genuinely concerned about that. I was like, is it going to be a whole new world and I'm not going to know what I'm doing? It's like starting over.
Well, I like how, with Jariko, it's like you find different things about him where it's fucking hilarious because I didn't realize that you were superstitious to a certain degree. And so we had to do the same thing every time. Because I started this thing where it was like, I'd do this, and every time he'd be like looking for me, like, okay, where are you at?
And you tried to fist bump, and he was like,
He's
no,
like,
do this thing.
Do the thing. Do the thing.
I'm not very
It worked.
superstitious, but I didn't tell anybody this. The day before we jumped, we were driving back from the DZ, and I looked over, and a black cat running right across the road, and I was like, good thing I'm not superstitious.
You
Fuck.
fuck.
And that was funny because I think it was you that asked me. You were like, are you superstitious? And I was like, no.
No.
And then it was like, yeah, I guess I actually really am. Yeah.
Just like, odd numbers on the radio and, depending on, I mean,
Yeah.
I got to comb my hair the same amount of times every morning.
Yeah.
Of course.
20
I am
brushes to
super-
the
I
left,
guess
one to the
I'm-
back.
I'm superstitious.
Not 3 times, turn. Yeah. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. And then like the other like awesome professional, Jim Woods from the Navy parachute team who runs the Leapfrogs. It's like 31,000 jumps or something like that. Jesus. He came out and did a few jumps with us, and him and Trevor did the whole flag on field too. Like those guys, and this may be just me wanting to hear what I wanted to hear then, but like they developed the doctrine for like how to fly with giant American flags and do this into stadium stuff. So it was like super cool to see Trevor in his own profession, like doing that stuff with Jim. And Jim's just like a fucking awesome dude.
He was insane with how he talked about his experience, like the most humble guy on earth.
Yeah.
Like how many jumps he had? He's like, 30 something. I just add like 1,000 every couple of years or every year or whatever. I don't know. I don't really count
Like,
anymore.
how many cutaways have you had? He's like 58. Oh my God.
He's cut away 58 times.
At 30,000, that's a good
Yeah, that's
ratio.
good ratio.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, because he's a demo guy, so he's had all kinds of weird shit happen because things getting entangled, and he's had 3 tandem cutaways. Just tandem cutaways.
Who?
Jim.
Oh,
So
shit.
he's had 3 just tandem cutaways.
This was one of the instructors, it was Matt. He was like, yeah, I cut away on tandem
11
last
tandem
week.
cutaways Matt had, and I jumped tandem with him.
Me too.
What a tandem cutaway is when you ditch your passenger.
Only had 11 tandem cutaways. Don't worry about it.
That's the coolest part about talking with those iconic guys is, to your point, Logan, the amount of shit they've done over the years, because no one ever did it before. No one's ever been like, let's jump this giant flag and hook it up to 2 people under canopy. And they just figured it out. And then if they fucked up, they cut away and pulled their reserve. And even what was it, Curtis, I think, was saying that, like, oh, I've jumped bad chutes before just to show, and then just pulled my reserve. I'm like, you're a fucking crazy person.
Steve Curtis shot his own parachute with a flare gun.
Yeah.
That was soaked in fuel.
Soaked it in gasoline and then shot it with a flare gun.
Yeah. Like just a quick aside on Steve Curtis. Like he's like the Tony Hawk of the sky, but he has no online presence. Like
Zero.
he
He's
has
like-
no media out there. He's
Nothing.
the raddest skydiver on this fucking planet, but you can't really find him anywhere.
It's that butthole factor. You're like, I'm just kind of like, I hope I can land this parachute. And he's like, I set my parachute on fire, the fucking flare gun. You're like, oh, okay, I'll jump out of the plane. That seems okay. Can I not do that though?
I still, like the most terrifying thing is the OG guys that figured out how to jump out of an airplane,
yeah.
like figure out how to stabilize in air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that was
They
fun.
didn't
Pulling
have
a
They know
fucking
wind
chute,
tunnels.
like you're like, will this work? I don't know. Let's try it.
Dude, I asked Travis this weekend about
Fucking terrible.
you went out without a chute. Like I'm going out and I'm thinking of all the possible malfunctions that I could have with 2 parachutes. You jumped out without a chute. What were you thinking about? I was like, were you playing this out at all? He goes, no, that's when I realized that I'm super fucked up is I wasn't scared of that at all.
Dude, so I asked
Crazy.
Dove about that shoot. Trav jumped at 10,000 feet instead of 12,000 feet because he was cold. He didn't want to go any higher.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
We got enough time here. I'll knock out 3 backflips.
He could have had an extra 20 seconds to make sure he didn't die, but he didn't want to because it was too cold.
That makes sense. No one outranks comfort sometimes. Safety, comfort.
No one.
Comfort outranks safety.
When
It's a
you watch
thing.
this video too, it is not like, okay, I'm going out. All right, let's do this. No, he jumps out. He does some backflips, sips a Red Bull. He's like fucking around until the guy's like, come on, we have to have to do this. And then when he told me what it was, he was wearing a fucking climbing rig. That's it.
Yeah.
Like there were no shoulder straps. He was just wearing the climbing harness. And he comes, the Scotty comes in and just clips to his climbing harness. Like, what?
Yeah,
Like,
it's insane.
This wasn't even built for this. Like, you didn't
That's
even
what I'm
know.
saying. Those all those like circumstances become way more intense once you've like done it, you know, because you're like, you're fucking crazy because there's no room for error. There's like the margins are so low.
We should ask him to do that with like a rope harness.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
And he has to link up with me.
Yeah.
You're just trying to stabilize. Come here, Chad. Legs forward. No, it's going the wrong way. Figuring out
Can you
mid.
help me steer this thing in, man? I kind of forgot what I was doing. Jumping a month or 2.
It's the dude that free falled into a net also with no parachute.
Oh, yeah. That was
That's
crazy,
fucking.
too.
That's
Dude,
funny.
it's
Trav
free
would be like,
falls.
Trav would be like, how many jumps you got? And you're like, 31. Damn, 31,000. No, 31. 31 jumps.
Just 31.
That's including a
cool
tandem.
Delete the other
31.
zeros. Just the 31. Just the 31. Yeah.
I have tandem though. Oh, you've tandem? No. I had the guy with me. The guy.
We'll be good. Don't worry about it.
I mean, I think the capstone of that, it's like for people, it's like getting out of that comfort zone. And that was the fun part because I was looking forward to it, but there was always that thing in the back of my head was like, why the fuck am I jumping out of planes again? Like, I don't need to prove this to anybody, you know? And, but man, it was worth it.
Yeah, my dad
Even with the
came
injury,
out.
it was worth it.
Your dad jumped.
Yeah, my dad
Yeah,
came out
wife
and did a tandem.
jumped.
My wife did a tandem.
And she didn't want
She didn't want
How'd
to.
your wife take the tandem? She enjoyed
She
it?
loved
after.
it. She was like, that was fucking incredible, and I want to do it
I
again.
hated tandeming. Like, I never want to do that ever again. Solo all day. I don't know why I didn't like it.
It didn't bother me at all. I was just like, whatever, I'm along for a ride. I don't care.
Yeah,
It's like riding a fucking airplane or something. I'm like, okay, I got to do this to do this other thing. I didn't understand it because all of us were like very committed to doing it. So I didn't quite understand why we had to do the tandem because it
I
just
think
didn't make
it's just
sense
rules,
to me.
right? Where they're like, just to make sure you're not
Yeah.
going to freaking pass out.
Flip out.
Or do
Yeah.
something crazy.
So so thank you guys. Thank you GBRS and Arizona. What is it? Arizona Arsenal. Sarah and Steve. They were freaking
All the
awesome.
Packers,
And, yeah,
everybody
Packers.
involved.
Friday,
Everybody's rad.
the Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super epic.
The bent propeller.
Yeah, the bent propeller.
Bent prop.
We
That was my spot.
fucking crushed some
Wings.
chicken wings in that hood, man.
Yeah.
We burnt that place down on chicken wings several nights.
Shout out to Phoenix. Real good booze there.
Big shout out to Phoenix, the Scott Snow, and the pilots that got us there.
Fuck yeah.
I limped.
Yeah.
I just bent down, picked up my bag, mild tear on my quad. That's at night.
That's
You were
it.
like, why are you limping?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. Woke up the next day. I was like, oh, my leg is like actual. Fuck.
It's actually not hurt. I was going to Phoenix and I wanted a drinking buddy. I'm like, fake a
That's
fucking
what we
injury
said.
so I can go, you know?
And
That's what we
meanwhile,
said.
I sat on a DZ for 29 times by myself, waiting for them to get down.
Hey, I hung out for like 3 or 4 days. I had the worst FOMO of all time seeing you guys come back like, bro, such a cool jump, dude.
Oh, look at our camo pants.
suits anymore. And I was like, I'm leaving because
Matt's rear D. He's like, yeah.
I'm not the rear D guy.
War looks good, guys. I bet it's cool.
I will preface this as well with as we start to extend this even further, which is I designed these AFF shirts around like making it feel a little bit more military. It was like with the Halo wings and BRCC and the whole fucking thing, because I thought it would be hilarious as like we're going back to, you know, AFF, but I was trying to make it feel like it was like a pseudo military course, right? Yeah. Whereas like we get our shirts, it's like our team shirts. You got to wear like kind of the same pants, but Logan's boy Miguel fucked up the pants order, so like now
he bought me like 38 dorks. Longs. I was like swimming in.
So now we just look like fucking dorks with like multicam. I'm like, bro, I wanted woodland.
Yeah,
it was very specific. I wanted woodland, like.
Would have looked real cool. It would have looked so.
It would have
cool.
looked way better.
I would have kept jumping if we had those.
Yeah,
I wouldn't hurt myself.
I would have.
Yeah.
Like if I knew that I could get out of the suit in the woodland.
Yeah.
Eli would have been fine. Matt would have been fine. Jared would have had more confidence.
Yeah.
You know?
I had none.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I did so well. It was just because I had the woodland camo.
You were the only ones with woodlands.
Yeah.
And I would have brought woodlands if I would have known that dumb fuck was going to screw it up.
So to be honest with you, I didn't want to say this, but I'll say it anyway. So when I was coming in on my first approach, I looked at my legs and got distracted by the colors.
Yeah.
And that's why I hit the ground. Yeah. And if I had fucking woodlands on, I would have been like, oh, I'm not worried about my legs. Okay, you know, half stage full. Okay, we got it. So Miguel, you're paying my fucking surgery bill.
Miguel is my new Dave.
We never we never lost a war wearing woodland camo.
That's
just
right?
Just throwing that out there.
Wow. I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
He's right.
Yeah. Panama, we took it down, what, 72 hours?
Yeah, fucking easy day.
It
was like
well, that's what happened. Like we used to have woodland and DCU in Iraq early on, and they're like, this war's not going too well. Let's switch over to ACU.
Yeah.
So
I like to do a combo. My favorite was like Tiger Stripe Woodland. That was like my thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I like to combo it up.
I don't know. That sounds like
You know, I do have to say though, I'm getting burned the fuck down for that sweatshirt. The fucking Halo wings.
No.
I put that
Those
on.
aren't for sale.
I put it online and like
go to mattbest.com. They're for sale.
Every Halo person I know is like, I need that shirt.
When I went back
that sweatshirt
to grab it and I went through the Fayetteville airport,
yeah.
I was waiting for somebody to be like, hey man, like, are you on a Halo team or something?
Yeah.
You were standing there with it.
You're goddamn right I am. I'm a fucking sky god, bitch.
Yeah. I'm a
You had your
skydiver.
helmet out. You're just leaning on it.
You're carrying your helmet through
Bravo
the airport.
Company. Black Rifle Company, actually.
Black Rifle, Bravo Code.
Yeah, I'm an ODA 726942, I think.
Sweet.
Cool.
Thanks,
Awesome.
man. See you guys.